Welcome back to our channel, where we provide updates and undisclosed narratives on Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. We provide you with the exciting news: King Charles drops a final demand over Prince Harry's children. DNA. Shocking Meghan. An insider source said that King Charles and Prince Harry had a clandestine meeting at Buckingham Palace last week during Prince William's visit on the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's dying to discuss the titles of King Charles's children. The insider said that Buckingham Palace is now engulfed in a constitutional crisis triggered by a persistent influx of unsubstantiated allegations suggesting that a clandestine DNA test has invalidated the genealogy of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's children. These assertions have subjected the line of succession and the integrity of the crown to unparalleled examination. Claims of unverified DNA are jeopardizing the succession of the monarchy, which is now in a state of crisis. The British monarchy is currently in the midst of a significant and potentially destabilizing crisis, which revolves around explosive but unverified allegations that King Charles III is in possession of evidence that allegedly refutes the royal lineage of Archie and Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor, the children of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. These rumors, which have moved from the murky depths of internet forums to the forefront of royal debate, suggest that a privately commissioned DNA examination has revealed that the children have no genetic relationship to the Windsor dynasty, including their own father, Prince Harry. Buckingham Palace has maintained a firm public silence, refusing to dignify the rumors with an official statement, yet insiders within the royal household talk of a subtle but deep constitutional tremor. If the charges were ever to be proved, they would not only constitute an enormous family scandal, they would also trigger a constitutional crisis, therefore questioning centuries of custom and legislation that control the line of succession. The sanctity of the bloodline, which is the basic basis of the hereditary monarchy, is being challenged not in the pages of history books, but in the volatile, fast-moving court of public opinion and digital media. The story, which was constructed from a collection of alleged leaks and tales from people on the inside, did not start with an official statement that was made available to the public. Instead, it all started with a single document that was disseminated in a clandestine manner. A report which was stamped with a royal seal and was meant for the highest echelons of the monarchy was leaked to a royal journalist who was considered to be trustworthy according to claims that have been made. The alleged conclusion of the document was straightforward and unequivocal: no Windsor blood detected. This phrase, whether it is genuine or fabricated, has become the rallying cry for a growing movement of skeptics and has ignited a frantic search for a truth that the Sussexes have fiercely guarded under the banner of privacy. This is not only a continuation of the continuing competition between the Sussexes, who are headquartered in California, and the members of the royal family who are now working. The sixth and seventh individuals in the line of succession to the British monarchy are directly challenged by this, which poses a danger to their eligibility for royal titles, succession rights, and even the very identity that they display to the world. The palace is now charting a course that is fraught with potential danger, as it must balance the need to defend the integrity of the crown with the potential for further fueling a controversy that might result in harm that cannot be undone. A pattern of secrecy. The anatomy of a rumor. Long before any purported DNA test was conducted, the seeds of skepticism were planted. On May 6, 2019, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made the announcement that their baby Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor had been born. The instant this announcement was made, experienced royal watchers saw that there was an important difference between this announcement and the standard protocols that had been established. There was a notable absence of the traditional picture opportunity held on the steps of the Lindo wing at St. Mary's Hospital. For many years, this ritual has served as a means of connecting members of the general public with the most recent additions to the royal family, from Princess Anne to Kate Middleton, who is now the Princess of Wales. 2 days later, the couple decided to take advantage of a strictly regulated picture session at Windsor Castle. In the pictures, which were meticulously arranged, Prince Harry, rather than the mother, was the one who was holding the newborn in the swaddling cloth. Because it is customary for the mother to be the one who presents the newborn child, royal critics have made the observation that there is something unusual about this decision. The child's face was mostly covered up since he was bundled up in a tight manner. For other people, the stated reason for their decision to withdraw from public life, which was an intention to protect their privacy and a wish to avoid the stress that earlier generations had to deal with, was the first of many discrepancies. There were doubts raised over the way that the announcement of the birth was handled. Buckingham Palace sent a statement to the public announcing that the Duchess had gone into labor. This statement was followed by a second announcement soon afterward indicating that the baby had already been delivered earlier that morning. The royal observers, who are now re-examining this mismatch in timing, which seemed to be insignificant at the time, are now considering it as part of a pattern of carefully handled information. Information that is usually made available to the public, such as the exact hospital and the members of the medical team who were in attendance, was kept private. The misunderstanding that arose in the beginning over the location of the delivery, whether it took place in a hospital or at their Frogmore Cottage home, was never entirely resolved. The circumstances surrounding the birth of their daughter, Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor, which occurred in California in June of 2021, were also shrouded in a similar pattern of mystery. The palace did not make the announcement, rather it was made by the couple's publicity team. The birth certificate, which was ultimately produced, did not include much information that was available to the public, and there was no formal name given to the hospital, nor was any of the medical personnel legally registered. The Sussexes made further reference to their right to privacy as non-working members of the royal family who are residing in the United States of America. Nevertheless, for an organization in which openness and public responsibility are of the utmost importance, and where individuals who are in the line of succession are expected to fulfill these obligations from the time they are born, these recurrent departures from precedent were not seen by critics as a contemporary solution to the situation, but rather as a purposeful attempt to obfuscate the situation. The fires of speculation have only been stoked by the fact that there have been so few images of the children that are both clear and candid throughout the course of many years. Appearances in public have been few and far between, and they have been very strictly regulated. The photographs that the couple has shared have often been taken from a distance, illuminated, creatively or professionally shot. The times that Harry and Meghan spent with their children were short, as seen in their Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, which aired in 2022. Although viewers heard Archie's words, they seldom saw his face clearly. Lilibet's face featured only in quick, frequently obstructed views. The frequent appearances of the children of the Prince and Princess of Wales at significant royal occasions, such as Trooping the Colour, were in sharp contrast to this absence of unedited commonplace moments. The secret that was maintained for so long resulted in the creation of a vacuum of knowledge, which was soon filled by hypotheses that were posted on the internet and became more and more complicated. In internet forums that are specifically committed to opposing the Sussexes' fringe conjecture about the use of surrogacy prosthetic bumps and even reborn dolls in order to create picture opportunities started to gather momentum. The fundamental element of doubt that the story that the Sussexes shared did not coincide with the evidence that was available continued to exist, despite the fact that the mainstream media disregarded it as a groundless and malevolent conspiracy theory. The constitutional cornerstone. Why bloodline is of utmost importance. In order to comprehend the seriousness of the current charges, it is essential to comprehend the basic premise that serves as the foundation of the British monarchy, the legitimacy of the royal lineage. In contrast to a president that is decided by elections, or a leadership position that is acquired by talent, monarchical authority is inherited via one's family line. William the Conqueror's claim to the English throne in the year 1066 established a precedent that has lasted for over 1,000 years, the justification of succession via inheritance. The ancestry of the British royal family has been painstakingly recorded. Every time an heir is born, it is not only an occasion for the family to celebrate, but it is also an event for the whole state. This has been historically proven and is documented by official witnesses in order to avoid fake claims. The foundation of the monarchy's power is this openness. One of the foundational documents of British constitutional law, the Act of Settlement of 1701, lays out in specific detail the regulations for the succession of the throne to ensure that the lineage of the monarchy remains Protestant. The law's major duty is still the control of the bloodline, despite the fact that it was modernized in 2013 in order to ensure that both male and female heirs have equal rights. As a result, any questions that are raised about the biological relationship of a royal successor are not a private issue concerning the family, but rather a subject of constitutional importance. It raises concerns for the symbolic and legal order of the country as a whole. The line of succession is more than just a formality. It is the official list that defines who would take over the responsibilities of the king in the case of a disaster. It also establishes the counselors of state, who are senior members of the royal family who are authorized to act on behalf of the monarch in the event that he is unable to perform his duties. For the last many years, Archie and Lilibet have been formally listed as 6th and 7th in line to the throne on the royal family's website. Their admission would be considered a major constitutional anomaly if the suspicions about their ancestry were really genuine. Scholars who are experts in royal succession make comparisons to crises that have occurred in the past. The story of the princes in the Tower, Edward V and his brother Richard, who disappeared in the 15th century, is a mystery that continues to this day. It is also a harsh reminder of how claims of illegitimacy can be used to upend the line of succession. Their uncle Richard III questioned the legitimacy of their claims to the throne before they disappeared. The fundamental concept of a provable lineage still exists in contemporary culture, despite the fact that it is far away from the terrible politics of the Wars of the Roses. According to reports, the palace was finally obliged to take action because of this constitutional obligation. According to reports, the decision to seek DNA verification was motivated by a sense of obligation rather than by a desire for vengeance. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, a former royal historian revealed that the palace had been aware of the anomalies for years, but was unwilling to intervene, fearing allegations of racism and bullying against Meghan Markle. According to the source, preserving family unity was the Queen's most important objective during the final years of her life. However, the institution has a responsibility that is more important than any emotions that family members may experience. The question of succession has become an urgent and pressing subject now that King Charles has ascended to the throne. It was no longer possible to postpone the matter by passing it on to someone else. Behind palace walls, a secretive investigation and its subsequent effects. The Royal Heritage and Protocol Oversight Council, which is a covert and influential organization, is the one that launched the process of verifying the children's DNA rather than King Charles himself, according to the stories that have not been proven. The Royal Heritage and Protocol Oversight Council carried out this process in conjunction with the office of the Lord Chamberlain. The long-term integrity of the Crown is the responsibility of this council, which is made up of historians, constitutional specialists, and senior courtiers. According to reports, the procedure was conducted with the same level of confidentiality as an intelligence operation. It is said that the examination was carried out by a private forensic genetics business in Switzerland that is well known for its work with high-profile international clientele. The acquisition of DNA samples without the knowledge or approval of the parents was the most significant issue, and it was an undertaking that was both legally and morally problematic. The claims continue to be the most spectacular aspect of this case, and the details around how the samples were obtained remain unclear. During the family's short journey to the United Kingdom, a sample was obtained from a discarded item that belonged to Archie, according to one story. Another person has suggested that a secret acquisition of an article from the Montecito residence where the children live was carried out by someone who had access to the house. It is not feasible to confirm the veracity of these assertions, and they may be embellishments that are intended to heighten the sense of drama in the story. Whether it was in one manner or another, the claimed results were presented to a limited group of top officials at Kensington Palace. The leaked papers included allegations of the results of the investigation, and according to these sources, the findings were clear and unambiguous. There was no indication of a chromosomal tie between Prince Harry or any other member of the Windsor family, whether alive or dead, and the DNA of Archie and Lilibet. It was said that the consequences that occurred inside the palace were both instantaneous and significant. According to reports, King Charles was informed on the matter at a secret meeting that was held at Clarence House. According to the account of an assistant who was there, the king went through the report without saying a word until finally posing the query, "Are we completely sure of this?" After that, Prince William, who is the direct heir, was notified. It was not fury that he displayed in his reply, but rather a profound feeling of betrayal and a somber determination to do the constitutional responsibility that was before him according to the description. According to a source, his principal goal was to safeguard the institution and the line of succession. It has been stated that a strategy has been developed in order to handle the problem, getting ready for the legal and political machinations that would be necessary to formally remove Archie and Lilibet from the line of succession was the first step that was taken. This would most likely need an act of parliament which would almost certainly cause a firestorm in the worldwide media. The second phase included maintaining control over the public narrative. The palace's aim was to avoid a direct confrontation with the Sussexes and instead leak the material, deliberately enabling the truth to surface via controlled channels. Nevertheless, the strategy was reportedly complicated when a second leak, this time from a source that had connections to the Swiss laboratory, threatened to prematurely reveal the whole of the incident. The palace decided to take a more subdued approach by circulating an internal memorandum and selectively sharing its contents with royal journalists. This was done out of a fear that control may be lost. It is said that the memorandum provided confirmation that an internal review of lineage records had been undertaken, which resulted in clarifications regarding succession protocol. The phrasing was intentionally ambiguous, but for those who were carefully following the story, the implications were obvious. The Sussex response and the division of public opinion. According to sources who are close to the Sussex camp, the response has been one of rage and resistance. It is said that Meghan Markle was given notice of the claims not long before they started to be distributed on a larger scale among members of the media. It was said that she reacted with anger, threatening legal action against the palace for what she believed to be a smear campaign against her. On the other hand, Prince Harry was characterized as emotionally stunned, and his silence was particularly noticeable. He found himself in a difficult situation, torn between his devotion to his wife and his allegiance to the institution into which he was born. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have not released any public statements on the claims that have acquired popularity in accordance with their policy of abstaining from involvement in what they believe to be gossip that is not based on fact. According to their supporters, the whole of this story is the result of a campaign of harassment and bigotry that has been aimed against Meghan for a number of years. It is a cruel effort to invalidate her and her children. They argue that the requests for proof and the intense scrutiny surrounding the births of their children are based on discrimination and constitute an intolerable violation of their right to privacy. The already significant divide in public opinion has only become wider as a result of this catastrophe. The claims mark a new low in the monarchy's treatment of Harry and Meghan for many who support the pair. The charges serve as proof that their choice to leave the United Kingdom was the right thing to do. They are witness to a contemporary progressive pair who had the courage to defy the institution's standards being attacked by a strict, outdated organization that is striking out in response. On the other hand, for those who are critical of the Sussexes, the claims serve as the definitive confirmation of their concerns, which they have had for a long time. They see the couple's decision to leave not as an attempt to get away, but as a way to avoid their responsibilities in order to enjoy the perks of being famous and wealthy. To them, the possibility that the children's ancestry has been misrepresented is the most serious transgression that can be imagined. It is an effort to deceive the Crown and the people of Britain. The people who make up this section of the population are now requesting that King Charles take immediate and decisive action, and they insist that he legally modify the line of succession, remove titles, and demand that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex provide a public accounting. The monarchy is at a critical juncture. The future is uncertain. The British monarchy has endured an endless stream of scandals, including but not limited to the abdication of Edward VIII due to his love for someone, the breaks of marriages in the 1990s, and the troubles that have surrounded Prince Andrew. On the other hand, it has never encountered a crisis that strikes so directly at the biological assumption of its existence. The issue of what is going to happen next is a matter of great concern for both Buckingham Palace and Westminster. Constitutional experts are now discussing a number of possible situations, including the following: 1. Intervention by Parliament. It has been claimed that an increasing number of members of Parliament are pressing for a formal probe. It is possible that Parliament would be forced to introduce new legislation that requires DNA verification for every heir who is in the line of succession. If this were to happen, the relationship between monarchy and science would be changed forever. 2. Titles are subject to revocation. The king is empowered to make changes to royal titles via the issuance of letters patent. Following his ascension to the throne, Archie and Lilibet were automatically granted the titles of Prince and Princess, but as of late, he has been under increasing pressure to remove those titles from them. It is possible that he may also be subjected to pressure to withdraw the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex from Harry and Meghan. 3. Public statement and legal action. The Sussexes may decide to come forth with a public statement and address the claims directly. This can include disclosing birth documents and medical information, or even hiring their own independent DNA test in order to disprove the allegations. On the other hand, they could decide to seek legal action for defamation, which would set the ground for a court fight between members of the royal family that would be the first of its kind. 4. In order to give you the most accurate information possible, we have conducted extensive research on this topic. A war of attrition. The palace will most likely maintain its current policy of strategic silence in the short term, allowing the unconfirmed stories to continue to spread while it discreetly takes administrative measures to sideline the Sussex children. On the other hand, there is a danger that this strategy may enable the story to spiral even more out of control. The digital age has shown the monarchy's susceptibility to crises. These days, an organization that has for a long time depended on mystery and control is finding it difficult to fight back against a narrative that is being fueled by social media algorithms, anonymous sources, and a worldwide audience that is eager for drama. The struggle to control how people see things has become more important than discovering the truth, no matter what that reality may be. Ultimately, this is a narrative that has neither unambiguous heroes nor villains. It is a tale that simply features a family that is severely divided and an age-old institution that is confronted with a dilemma that is entirely contemporary in nature. According to sources, the answer that Kensington Palace sent, which was characterized by a suppressed rage, is not only a response to a personal betrayal, it is a response to what it views as a danger to a heritage that is 1,000 years old. Depending on the measures that are made over the course of the next several months, the Crown will either emerge from this storm with more strength and increased transparency, or it will be weakened and further degraded. The legitimacy of the British Crown itself is at risk in this high-stakes game, and the whole world is watching and waiting for the next move to be made. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.